mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about episode 8 of Apple TV's limited series Dark Matter, entitled Jupiter. I have mixed feelings on this one. There was a lot to like here, and this was an entertaining episode to watch. Unfortunately, by one real issue, it's kind of a big one. I've said many times that I was concerned that with this many episodes and what seemed like not a lot of story left to tell, that this show would climb up its own ass and just kind of get away from itself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that time seems to have arrived. This show crawled so far up its own ass that Jason found more Jasons inside his own ass. Like, granted, I think it ended strong enough to set up what's probably going to be a pretty impressive finale. But that first 20 minutes or so with more and more Jasons popping up, it was ridiculous. Remember in my first video that I read reviews of the book and I said that they weren't kind and that they called into question the writing as it pertained to like science and stuff like that, the scientific explanations? Well, they adapted that shit from the book because the explanation for all of those Jasons being around was lazy. I guess this was inevitable. The different version of us would spawn in the box. How the fuck is that inevitable? Like, y'all explain superposition 17 times, but you can't explain random spawnings of additional Jasons inside the box? Every choice I made in there created a different Jason, and every choice each of those Jasons made, and so on and so on. What? Like, this premise relies on the explanation of how multiple Jasons could spawn, and they don't even try to explain it. They just go, oh, right, obviously multiple Jasons would spawn. Man, if you don't get the fuck out of here with that, and I'm not even shitting on whatever science they're attempting to, I don't know. I can't, because they're not giving me science. Like, I'm shitting on the lack of an explanation for the science and just forcing us to accept that this is what should happen. Like, that was fucking weak, man, and it was lazy. Anyway, after the episode pissed away a good 20 minutes on showing us how many Jasons were there and having, like, goofy, like, chase scenes and shit with Jason following Jason like Jason Voorhees. After 20 minutes of that shit, we finally start going somewhere, and where we start going is actually pretty good. Hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews, where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today, Mike's Musings, where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD, where you can commission me to watch a show, which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there since it's the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not going to lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film, and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review. New Jason forgets that he promised to take Charlie to his alma mater, so they play hooky from school and they go to the University of Chicago. I just want to start by saying how absolutely sick that library was. I looked it up, and that is actually the University of Chicago's library. I didn't think it wasn't, but I wanted to check. Chicago's really close to Detroit. Who knows, man? I'm half tempted to visit, man. That's a sick fucking library. And clearly security is lax there, so... Anyway, one of my favorite moments happens here when Jason points out where he met Daniela. He's like, there, I met her over there at some garden party. And... Jason goes, like, I almost didn't even go to that party. And Charlie's like, do you ever think about what would happen if you had never gone to that party? And Jason's like, I'd have regretted it for the rest of my life. Man, what? No, you wouldn't. So you're going to skip the party and for the rest of your life, all the way to your deathbed, you're going to be like, man, I regret not going to that one party in college. I might have met my wife there. Like, man, fuck out of here, man. Anyway... New Jason realizes he's being followed by the 7th Jason of this episode so far, And there's another silly chase sequence through the library where Jason obviously behaves like someone being followed and Charlie just keeps asking him what's wrong. Like, they're walking briskly through this library with Jason constantly looking around. And then Jason's like, let's just sit down right here briefly. And he's like, all right, we can walk again. And all Charlie goes is, you're acting weird. Like, no, Charlie, it's the scene that's acting weird. Anyway, Jason sends him to the car, and then he confronts the other Jason, who I'm going to call Damaged Jason because his face was all fucked up. And in this bathroom, new Jason submits Damaged Jason by rear naked choke at 3:43 seconds of the first round. Now, the Daniela stuff in this episode, pretty good. Oh, I just slid my mouse all the way across my table. After giving Jason more looks of suspicion that he doesn't catch on to, Daniela breaks into the storage unit finally, and she finds all of his shit, including some 20s from another world, apparently, that have Kennedy on them. If I'm Daniela, I'm taking those Kennedys, man. Like, even in our world where Kennedy died, money with his face on it would be so rare that it would be priceless. And let's not even talk about how I would then go on CNN and talk about how I got those Kennedys from another dimension and prove me wrong. Like, there's nothing you can do. They're going to be like, all right, well, you're just going to have to explain us how you got to the other dimension, because we certainly can't say you wrong because you have 20s with Kennedy's face on them. Anyway, after OG Jason gets himself arrested for smoking swishers in a restaurant, and on Juneteenth, no less, we're treated to a great scene where him and Daniela are reunited when she comes to bail him out of jail. And Jason lays out everything that's happened to Daniela and is like, I can prove everything that I've just said, call me. She calls new Jason, technically, with OG Jason standing right there in front of her and is floored to hear Jason's voice while on the phone, while Jason stands right there in front of her silent. It was a great moment. What makes this moment even better, though, is that since all of the extra Jason spawned after new Jason kidnapped him, they all have the shared life experiences. Now, new Jason does not have OG Jason's life. So that's why we've seen all these examples of him fucking things up in OG Jason's world. But regardless of the lack of an explanation for the science regarding how there's all these different Jasons, the fact remains, if they spawned after the kidnapping and after the box and they've all met Amanda, all that kind of shit, if they spawned after that, then everything prior to that is a shared experience. We have no way of knowing that the Jason that Daniela sees in this moment at the jail is actually the OG Jason that we've been following this whole time. It could be any of the spinoffs. They would all have that exact same story, and they would all say it equally as passionately, and everything would have happened the same. Could have been any of the other Jasons. And I feel like the show went to great lengths to not give me a clear look at his finger, because you know he keeps that fucking that little string wrapped around it where his ring was at. So like, would that have been a clue? I can't tell. I kind of felt like I didn't see it there, but either way, that's confirmation that that's not the OG Jason. So either way, sorry, we don't know if that was actually OG Jason in that scene. So when Daniela decides she's going to go meet him at the Bean, she hops in a car with the wrong Jason, figures out it's not the right one, meets OG Jason from the jail at the Bean. He says the password of Jupiter, but just because that's Jason from the jail scene doesn't mean it's OG Jason we've seen this whole time. Yeah, of course he's going to know the password. He's the same Jason from an hour ago. Don't mean he's the OG Jason. So, like I said up top, this sets up a really good finale because right now, it may feel like she's reunited with OG Jason, and it will probably even feel that way for that Jason. But now they need to handle new Jason and the spinoff Jasons and the box. But I also truly believe that that's not even OG Jason that she's with, and we're going to have a moment where she's going to have to figure out which one is the right one. And even though a bunch of people being the same, you kind of got to figure out which one's the right one, and they're like, I'm going to say something that's going to let you know it's me. That's overdone and played out. Even though that's the case, I do like the fact that they've already set up kind of that moment by putting doubt into my mind whether or not this is actually the OG Jason that we've been following the whole time. I hope Daniela makes the wrong choice and that she kills the right OG Jason just because I love chaos. Some men want to watch the world burn. But let me know what you think and what you want to happen in the finale. And until next week, peace.